Hello, Year 2. It is Monday, the 25th of January, and we are on page 11 today in our workbooks. So just make sure, first of all, you've got the Year 2 workbook. And we're on page 11, and the title says multiplying. So we're moving away from addition, subtraction, a bit. And that was our last week's learning. And we're starting to look at multiplication. Now, this is something that in school we haven't really looked at yet. We've done a little bit of counting in 2s, 5s and 10s, but we haven't started our new learning of multiplication just yet. So watching carefully, make sure our listening ears and our maths hat on. Now, multiplication is a very good friend with addition. So we are going to need our addition hats from last week, because multiplication is repeated addition. We're adding a number over and over again. We're making groups of a number, and I'll show you what I mean in just a little minute. So the first question is asking you to count in 2s. Now, some of you might be able to do this quite easily, and you can recite your multiples of 2 by heart. Some of you might find this a little bit tricky and have forgotten how to count in groups of 2. I'm going to show you a way you can do it at home. So you could use objects around your house that we can count, so pieces of dry pasta, pegs, crayons, anything what you've got lying around. Or you could use your whiteboard and pen. So if you want to pause the video and grab something that we can use for counting and grouping now, that would be great. Okay, so hopefully you've got a little bit of equipment in front of you. So the first one says 1 times 2, and it's in this table here. And it's asking us to find one group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, and so on until we get to 10 times 2. So the first one is 1 times 2. So when we say times, that means lots of, one group of. Okay, so one lot of 2, one group of 2. So I've written on my board the number sentence, 1 times 2. I'm going to draw one group of 2, and they look a little bit like peas in a pod. We call these arrays. So I've got one lot of 2 there. So altogether, I've got, count with your grown-up, 1, 2, my one group of 2. And that's really important, remembering groups of. Okay, the next one is then 2 lots of 2, 2 times 2. And that is asking me to make 2 groups of 2. This time, I'm going to draw 2 circles, 2 in each group, like little peas in the pod. So I've got 2 lots of 2 this time, and that's the same as 2 add 2. That's why at the beginning I said that addition and multiplication work very closely together. Multiplication is repeated addition, adding over and over. Okay, so just tell your grown up, how many have I got all together in 2 times 2? I've got 4. Okay, I've got 2, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 lots of 2. And the next one then would be 3 times 2. So tell your grown up how many groups of 2 I've got to draw here. So how many groups of 2 peas inside each pod do I need to draw for 3 times 2? Okay, so this time I'm going to draw 3 circles. And I'm going to draw 2 in each because we're counting in 2s. It's asking me to find 3 lots of 2. So let's count them together. We can count them individually, or we can count them in 2s if we know how to. 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, when we're counting in 2s, we're missing a number each time. So I've got 6 there. What you could do if you want to draw it on a whiteboard, at the beginning, I said maybe use some dry pasta or some crayons or some pegs, anything you've got lying around, and you can arrange the groups of 2 across the table. So we could have 2 pieces of pasta for 1 times 2, then 2 lots of 2 for 2 times 2, 3 lots of 2, and then you can see it practically or have a go at drawing it on the board. Okay. And if you're not very confident counting in 2s, with my children at school, the way that we would learn this and recite it is we would do whisper and clap. So when we're counting in 2s, we're missing a number each time. So we're not counting 1s individually, we're counting every 2. So we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and my claps being my multiples of 2. So then it moves on to even and odd numbers. You might be thinking, what has that got to do with multiplication? So the first one, number 2, is asking you to cross out the even numbers on the list below. So an even number is a number that can be shared equally, and it also means it's a multiple of 2. All multiples of 2 can be split in half equally. So if I had 12 sweets, we would each get 6, and it would be even. Therefore, 12 is an even number. And a way of remembering even numbers, I've got a little rhyme, and it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Even numbers, they are great. Okay? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Even numbers, they are great. And if we were in school, Mrs. would have her pom-poms and we would be reciting this in the classroom. So Mrs. Even likes even numbers. Okay, now odd numbers cannot be shared equally. So we could use our equipment again to test each number and find out if it can be shared equally and split evenly, and every group having the same amount. Odd numbers, though, we can't split odd numbers evenly. So if we split them into groups, there would be a group that had more or less than somebody else. So Mr. Odd, he likes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. He likes odd numbers all of the time. Now, I don't like odd numbers because I don't think they're very fair. So if a number ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, even numbers, they are great. It is even. Okay, odd numbers we can't share, and they are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I like odd numbers all of the time, but that's Mr. Odd. I don't like odd numbers. So you might want to pause the video there to help you with that question, and then even test it out using some practical equipment to share them out evenly. Okay, the next question then, on question 3, we're going back to multiplication this time, but we're not counting in 2s this time. It's asking us to count in 5s and circle all the numbers in the 5 times table. So can you remember how to count in 5s? If you can, tell your grown-up, what do multiples of 5 end in? Hopefully you should have said that multiples of 5 end in a 5 or a 0. So there's lots of remembering in patterns today. So if it's a multiple of 5, it will end in 5 or 0. If it doesn't, it's not a multiple of 5. So together, I want you to give me your 5. We're going to high five, and we're going to count in 5s until we get to 60. Are you ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So you would have noticed then that all of my numbers end in 0 or 5. So you might want with your grown-up, you could high five your grown-up. Okay, in the air. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And again, if you find that quite tricky and you can't remember how to count in 5s, the objects that you've used for your 2s this time, have a go at grouping them in 5s. So 1 times 5, so make one group of 5. 2 times 5, make 2 groups of 5. So this question is just asking you to circle all the numbers in the 5 times table. So if you can remember that they end in 0 or 5, you're going to do brilliantly with that question. Okay. Don't forget TT Rockstar. So this is where it's going to really come in and help you this week, year 2. I know we haven't done a lot of multiplication in school. So once we've done this week's learning, hopefully you'll be able to access TT Rockstars a little bit better. And Hit the Button has also got some great multiplication games as well. The last question is like the first question, but this time it's not asking us to count in 2s, it's asking us to count in 10s. Now I know from adding last week and adding in school that we all know how to count in 10s. Now, if we're counting in 10s, multiples of 10, what do they end in? So multiples of 2 end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Multiples of 5 end in 5 and 0, but what do multiples of 10 end in? They're all grown up. 0. this time, you're going to give me 10 this time. I'm going to count in tens from 10 to 100. Are we ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay. So just the same as before, we've got to find one group of 10, two groups of 10, three groups of 10, so 3 lots of. So 1 10 would be 10, 2 10s, 10, 20. So you use your hands for this. Do 1 times 10 is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, 3 times 10 is 30, 4 times 4 times 10 is 40. And all we're doing is adding a 0 on. But if you wanted to, you could draw it on your whiteboard and make your groups of 10, or using the equipment that you did for the other questions. So that shouldn't take you too long today. So it's quite a nice introduction to multiplying, and I would love to see you logging on to TT Rockstars to have a go at 2s, 5s and 10s. Now we have set for now Year 2 TT Rockstars just at 2s, 5s and 10s, I think. We'll probably have a look at 3s going further in the week. So hope you're getting okay with your maths. Can't wait to see you. And if you need any help, I know this is new learning, please email and let us know. Okay, bye Year 2.